I think our next question we should talk about, knowing that we're still in the pandemic, there isn't a form of treatment. Our numbers continue to go up, even though, we're relatively low, I guess, amongst the country. How should the church really move forward and meet those spiritual needs in the days to come?
I'll take a first shot at that question, Anne Marie, and I've toiled with it and I wrestle with it. So I'm not toiling with the idea of coming back because I've pretty much determined that we don't have a vaccine. We don't have enough medical stable, approaches or treatments to lower this 2.2 to really a 1% or lower is what we should be targeting. So here is my real issue. My issue is not, do I bring 150 people? Because by the way, we diagrammed our sanctuary, and in the diagram of our sanctuary of this whole building, all we could get in there is about 160 people. If we do social distancing, if we do it the proper way, we could get 160 people in a room that seats 2,000. So that's really not, we'd have 20 services if we did it that way. I'm more concerned, Dr. Robertson, with sending a signal to the people who I tell can't come, the vulnerable. If we follow what the ministry of Jesus really looks like, Matthew chapter 4, around verses 22, 23, they're bringing the sick people to Jesus. And so the issue that I struggle with is I tell sick people to stay at home, and it begins to look like a country club. It begins to look like the healthiest and the wealthiest can come to church. And those who are vulnerable and those who are impaired in any way, you go sit at the pool of Bethesda. You go outside the gate called Beautiful. You don't get to come in. You get to stay out, which heaps upon them the mental stress, because what people with cancer look forward to after their Tuesday chemotherapy is Sunday morning worship. They go to church, they get up and pick themselves up and come to church so that they can have hope and be touched and be loved. And now I'm concerned that when I tell them, stay at home, you could be impacted, watch on television, that they kind of sit there looking like the child who's looking through the glass saying, I sure wish I had $5 to get in. And that's where I'm more concerned about this at this point. I have no problem with staying online, have no problem with continuing the things that we're doing. But I believe, and I'll go even further, 9% of the people in Memphis, Tennessee can't get online to reserve a seat, like some people have prescribed. We have people who are challenged with just getting their kids online to finish school. So 9%, there are still internet deserts in the city of Memphis. There's still places that Wi-Fi won't reach. And we have to be concerned about those individuals, because at some point we begin to send a signal to them that this is more exclusive than inclusive, and we want some here, but not all here. I'll finalize my point by saying this. There's something in my brain that's saying until we suffer together and until we stay together in our suffering that Jesus did for us, he came and got with us in our suffering. Until we suffer together, we won't find a remedy for this. See, until it's inconvenient for me to stay in someone else's inconvenience, until I say, you know what, I ain't gonna leave Gina until you do something for Gina and for George, and all of us gonna be here. And even though I have the means, I'm gonna stay here with everybody, and we're gonna suffer together.